1105, College Algebra, Chapter 2, Section 4. This deals with circles. The equation for a circle is parentheses x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. Okay? You could just as easily take the square root of this whole thing and you would have the square root of x minus h plus y minus k equals square root of r. Okay? Or r. So, what happens is that the h and the k here, x and y will never have a value. They'll always be x and y. The h and the k here represent the center of the circle. In terms of the radius, it's the square root of this value which gives us the radius. It's r. Make sure you understand when you're looking at circles, for that matter, for any kind of conic, there are parameters in mathematics, and the parameters are what define the shape. So for instance, if I have the center of a circle and I have the radius, then I can stretch out that and rotate it around and I have my circle. That's the basis for a compass. One of the things you have to know too is that if you see an equation that says x squared plus y squared equals some number, I just put 1, that means that this is really x minus 0 squared plus y minus 0 squared, so the center is at the origin, 0, 0. Again, we take the square root of 1, we get the radius of 1. Here's what happens. Here's the equation of a circle. It's x plus 3 squared plus y minus 2 squared equals 16. First of all, remember that in the equation, it's a minus sign. So if I'm in an equation where it's a plus sign, that means it's a negative number. Here it's a 2, so the center's at negative 3, 2. If I take the square root of 16, I get 4 as the radius. I know my circle's a little not very good shape, but what I do is plot negative 3, 2, which is the center, go 4 up, 4 to the right, 4 down, 4 to the left, draw my circle. You know, in a compass, remember, if you plant your point of your compass in the center, and then you stretch your pencil to the radius, you can just rotate it around and draw the circle. Our general form of a circle is when we take something like x plus 3 squared and multiply it out, add it to y minus 2 squared, multiply it out, and then subtract the 16 over. We get what we call the general form of a circle, where it's x squared plus y squared plus ax plus by plus c. Okay? Notice that if you take away the x squared and the y squared, you really have the standard form of a linear equation. Okay? Example 4 says you have x squared plus y squared plus 4x minus 6y plus 12. So this is in standard form, or general form is what they're calling it. We want to take it to center radius form. The center radius form is right there. So what happens is we have to do a process called completing the square. So the first thing I did here was group all my x's and my y's. So I brought x squared and 4x in one set of parentheses, y squared minus 6y in another set of parentheses, then I subtracted the 12 to the other side. Next thing I got to inspect, make sure there is a positive 1 in front of your square terms, because you can't complete the square unless there's a positive 1 in front of there. Okay? Completing the square is taking half of the middle term, which in this case is 2, squaring it, which is 4, so I'm going to add 4 to this set of parentheses. Come over here, take half of negative 6, I get negative 3, square it, I'm going to add 9. Now you got to remember the golden rule in algebra says, what do you do to one side, you got to do to the other. So if we add 4 here, we got to add 4 on this side. If we add 9 here, we got to add 9 on this side. Doing our math, what happens is this is a perfect trinomial square. So to put it in factored form, we take the square of the first term, which is x, keep the middle sign, take the square of the last term, 2, and then it's squared. So if we were to take x plus 2 times x plus 2, we would get x squared plus 4x plus 4. Same thing here. Take the square of the first term, y, keep the middle sign, negative or minus. Take the square of the last term, 3, squared. And then of course, negative 12 plus 13 is 1. So we can see in this, going from this general form to the center radius form, we can see the center is that negative 2, 3, radius is a 1. This is question number 36 on page 189. Okay, notice that it's in general form. So the first thing I do is I group all my x's, my y's, and subtract the 7 over. It's a little bit different case. We got a 2 in front of the x squared. We need a 1. So we factor out the 2. Divide this by 2, we get 1. Divide this by 2, we get 4. The 2 stays on the outside. Now we just follow our procedure. Take half the middle term, square it, we get plus 4. But here's the situation here. Even though I'm adding 4 in parentheses, I got this 2 outside, so I'm really adding 8 to this side, because 2 times 4 is 8, so I got to add 8 here. Notice also, to remind myself, I changed this y to y minus 0. Take square root of first term, x, keep the middle sign. Keep the middle sign. Take square root of the last one, 2. We got this. We got 2 times x plus 2 squared, 2 times y minus 0 squared, 1. Because negative 7 and 8 is 1. Divide the whole thing by 2. This becomes a 1, and this becomes 1 half. So we can see that our center is at negative 2, 0. Our radius is the square root of 1 half. Remember, the radius is the square root of this value. It ends up being square root of 2 over 2. If you've forgotten how to deal with radicals, I took square root of 1 half and wrote it as square root of 1 over square root of 2. Square root of 1 is 1. Square root of 2 stays the same. Can't have a radical in the denominator's place of a fraction, so we rationalize. So we'll multiply top and bottom by square root of 2 over square root of 2. Okay, that gives me square root of 2 over square root of 4. Square root of 4 is 2. Square root of 2 over 2. Now I'm in proper form. That's how I got square root of 2 over 2.